This podcast is brought to you by Independent Building Advice. IBA acknowledges traditional owners of the land and waters this podcast is recorded on. If you find this episode helpful, follow us for more so we can continue putting out free value for all homeowners in Australia. It really goes a long way. Enjoy the episode.
Design. If you get your kitchen right, you are halfway there to getting a beautiful home and a great home. However, what are the latest trends? What works? What doesn't work? What makes one kitchen function and another one not? I can't think of anyone better to talk to you about this than Josie from Décor Avenue. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good to have you on the podcast. Tell us a bit about your background, first of all. Let people know what you're about and why you're an expert in this area, and then we can get into it.
All right. Well, we'll start with my accent. So I come from Montreal, Canada. So as you hear me speak, you'll probably get some twangs of Canadian accent. So that's where I come from. I have been in the cabinet making and kitchen industry since I'm 13 years old. So
oh, wow. So 5 years.
Something like that. And then I went into interior design at school and worked in the design industry, designing various kitchens for apartment building. And then I moved to Australia and kept working as a kitchen designer and then decided to start my own business and doing just that.
So were you child labour or your parents own a kitchen making company? Or
my dad was a installer and cabinet maker. So he brought me on site, taught me how to install the kitchen, install the handles, how to adjust doors up and down, drawers, all the little nitty-gritty to install and fit a kitchen. Also got me understanding really the practicality behind a design, because you can
huge.
design an amazing kitchen without thinking about the person that's going to install it. And then the installer on site goes, what's going on here? How am I supposed to do this? So it's about, it helped me understand the practicality and join that with aesthetic and be able to create kitchen that are practical for the installer, for the family that will use it, but also looks good.
yeah, well, I guess the vision versus reality, that if anyone can draw something on a piece of paper, if that defies gravity or can't be done, or the cabinet maker can't do it, that's if they do figure it out, it's just going to cost you a lot of money.
Yes.
Whereas if there's a better, simpler, easier way of doing it with a similar outcome, then why wouldn't you do it? And
exactly.
that knowledge helps. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I've had kitchen where you go on site and you've got a panel that is going on a wall, but it's kind of floating and you're like, how am I supposed to install that? There's no wall to anchor it to. So
Yeah.
it looks good on the plan, but practically once you're on site, you can't do it. But it's also understanding once you go into a room and you see the space, that corner can be used, that height can be used, and really maximize the space in a practical way.
Yeah, and that's where your expertise come into it, because you look at something through that lens of cabinet making as well as style and design and bring it all together so
Yes.
that it functions. So because we're talking about kitchens today, and we could talk for 12 hours on this and not even touch the surface of it, but what are some basic principles someone who's designing a kitchen should think about when they're starting off? And let's say for an existing, let's say they've got a area for where the kitchen's going to go. What are some basic principles they should think about to start off with when planning a kitchen layout?
All right, $1 million question. Basically, the first thing that I speak with clients is about what's their lifestyle. How do they use the kitchen? Do they cook a lot? Do they entertain? Do they have kids? Basically, it's understanding what layout will be the best for them. Do they need something that's going to have a lot of space for all the kitchen, the Christmas food to come in once they entertain? Or do they need more drawers? Do they need a scullery? What material we're going to use? Is the kitchen just a decorative element because they don't eat at home? So I guess it's understanding their lifestyle, how they use it, understanding their budget, because one budget, you can have a beautiful kitchen with a laminate benchtop, laminate doors, or you can go crazy and have marble and wood doors and all that. So these are things that I ask people to take in consideration, so I understand what the outcome will be and to be able to really create a design that is going to be achievable but also practical for them.
Yeah, so look, you just covered a lot of stuff, which is gold, which I want to talk deeper into, which is great. The reason why, so first thing there, budget. I think a lot of people are conscious of, I don't want to tell you my budget because you might price gouge me and so forth. But most true experts are actually trying to find out what you want to spend to give you the best outcome for your budget. Like you just said so perfectly, is that you can design a $150,000 kitchen. If the budget is $40,000,
that's stuffed.
You got to rip their heart out when they get the price, right? So it's really just guiding them to what's going to be a great outcome. I sometimes recommend to people, I said it in a previous podcast, that they work out what they want to spend and what the maximum they want to spend is, and then give the designer an indication. Look, I want to spend $40,000. Great, that's what you can get. I want to spend. Look, maximum I want to go to is 65. Okay, well, let's talk about different options, and then you can weigh out where you want to be. But I think if you know what you want to do price-wise is a huge thing. And be honest, as honest as you can. Sound out the person you're talking to first and make sure they are a genuine person, but then be as honest as you can, because if you do the opposite, you go, oh, my budget's $40,000, but really it's 60 and you're happy with 60, and you design a $40,000 kitchen and you're disappointed, well, that's not your fault. You're just trying to help them.
I could have done something much better if I knew that there was an extra $20,000 in the
100%.
The style also plays. So having an understanding of what you like and what you don't like. A simple minimalist, say Scandinavian kitchen is going to be a lot, not necessarily a lot, but will be cheaper than a full farmhouse Hampton with panel door and shaped benchtop and things like that. So understanding what style you like also help gauging the budget and be able to say, well, if you're telling me your budget is $40,000 and you tell me that you love all the paneling and you want a marble benchtop, well, I'll probably at that point say, well, maybe we better to plan a little bit extra, or therefore maybe we'll go door instead of drawers.
Yes,
because that's less expensive.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
Being honest.
And obviously, and some people, I speak to some people, I don't know about you, but I speak to people and they go, oh, we don't have a budget. I think you do.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah, you're better off putting figures together. Now, I do know that some people are apprehensive, and what we do is we go, okay, here's different price points that you use. $40,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, whichever. This is give you an idea of what you can do, and pick one and I'll show you. So if you don't know, we'll happily tell you, this is what you should spend if you want to get this kind of home, which I think is great. But I think that's really important. And then the second thing you said there, which is equally important, is what is your lifestyle? If you, and I think what you said is brilliant, and we do the same, and that is, I think of a party or an occasion where your kitchen's at its most extreme, like a Christmas or birthdays, whatever it might be. I think that's what you plan for.
Yes.
Especially and if you plan for that, then it's certainly going to cater for everyday use. But you want to think, well, how are people going to do the salads? How are they going to, location in the home? Yeah. And then you go, okay, well, great. If that's your lifestyle and you or the designer has a really good understanding of it, then you can go, all right, got it. This is how we make that work. Is that how you sort of look at it?
Yes, pretty much. So if you're telling me you love to entertain, then I'll probably put in a great big island if the space is available, because then therefore you can cook on it, you can spread. If you like to make pasta, you can create those pasta on that bench top. And then I'll also advise for a stone or something that is long wearing to be able to have all that food all over it, and these sorts of things. But also it's understanding where it's going. Sometimes say on a renovation path, if the kitchen is in a specific space in the house and it needs to stay there, but the space is not available to have a 3-meter island.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's looking at what can be done to really maximize the outcome for the people's lifestyle.
Yeah. I use the analogy with renovation extensions, and if people don't know this reference, then it's not good. Did you have Mr. Squiggle in Canada? Damn, because if you don't know the reference, it's really bad.
Sorry.
It was this puppet that had a pencil nose, and he used to draw on a blackboard. This sounds terrible. And the blackboard had this squiggle on it, and basically the guy with the pencil nose had to make that squiggle into a pretty picture, which is a bit weird. And the blackboard used to give the lady who was in it a hard time. It's a long story. Anyway, in that's renovating to me. And that is like, here's a really difficult home that we've already built. Now you make that look good with what we've already got there and make it hit my budget and everything. And you go, okay, I'll do my best to work that out. And that's the thing, though, is you can only work with what you've got. But And we're talking very general here today, but when we're talking island benches, going to, well, I guess we need to break this down to sections. So obviously a rear bench is normally about 600 deep.
Yeah.
This is for people at home who are not aware of this. And then you normally have an island bench, which can come in, I guess, 600 as well, but normally 900 or 1.2 and things like that. And then lengthwise, what sort of sizes do you think are healthy sizes for island benches? I know this is very general because it depends on the space you've got, but let's say we're building a new home. What do you think are good sizes and why those sizes, and even setbacks between the benches? What do you give us some of your knowledge on those sort of areas?
Well, I use my kitchen as an example. I love to entertain. I'm the one that received for Christmas. So my benchtop is 3.2 by 1.2. So I took the slabs that I liked and I maximized that to really create one big surface.
Yeah. So 1200 by 3.2. Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then the back where I'm cooking is 600.
Yeah.
In
deep,
between,
deep, or just wide.
No,
very,
deep, sorry.
I've been to your house, I actually know, but yeah.
But in between, the rules of thumb, a lot of people say, as long as you've got 900 to a meter, it's fine. That's not enough.
So what did you say then?
900 to a meter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, the accent here. But I like to have at least 1.2 just because that way you can move around, you can have someone on the cooktop while you're preparing lunches or the kids are at the island. It's comfortable to move around without bumping in everybody. Sometime in the layout, you'll have the dishwasher or the sink and the cooktop, so you need to be able to walk around the kitchen without bumping. And in a meter space, I don't think it's enough.
I absolutely agree. I personally think 1.2 between the backbench and the island, or 1.3 I think is perfect, purely because you can actually have two decently sized people can walk past each other without really bumping into each other. Also, that if you're working on one bench and you want to use the bench behind you, it's really that and a small step to get to that bench. Whether if you have to do 2 steps, although it's not much, that gets a lot bigger. Yeah. And if it's too narrow, I mean, it's a nightmare.
Well, if it's too big, it's, to me, a bit of a wasted space.
Yeah.
And if it's too narrow, it's not workable.
Absolutely, and especially if you're trying to cook for Christmas and your
I've
mother-in-law.
been to a place where you've got the oven, and then literally on the other side, you've got a peninsula or an island, and in the drawer, you can barely open the drawer because the oven door is...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing, though. You go, excuse me, I've got to do it, especially if it's a hot oven door, but also like your guests, like it might be your mother-in-law or your friend or whatever's got a glass of wine, you're trying to cook and they're standing right next to you and you go, excuse me, that, you want to have that space to maneuver and work that space as well. So 1.2, 1.3, that works well. What about the sides when you've got the island getting back? Does that have to be as wide, do you think, when you're just trying to get around an island bench, or...?
I would say it depends what's on those walls. If it's just a thoroughfare, simple wall, I'd go around the 900, then that's fine. I would still say on the other side, if you've got the fridge, I would definitely go for the 1.2 meters.
Yeah, why is that?
Again, because people want to be able to open the fridge. Often that corner will end up being where people station themselves to have a chat, or you've got bar stools. So you want to be able, again, to walk around without going, sorry, can you squeeze?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you're like me, I'm looking for leftovers, so I'm going to hang there. What's in the fridge? I'm sure I saw some meat there last night that I can eat. But no, you're right there for those sort of areas. And I agree. I think, I mean, for the side around the island, I recommend a meter. But you're right. It depends on what you've got. But let's say it's a new build. Let's say we've got as much room as we want. What's a good, healthy way to go with those? Yeah.
You're one to gauge between 1 and 1.2.
Yeah, beautiful. So for an island bench, so 1.2 meters, that's quite wide.
Yes.
What's the benefits of that? What are your thoughts?
Well, if you've got the space, you've got more storage. It allows for a comfortable recess for a breakfast bar. So you can put some stools. People can sit around, have a chat. Kids can sit there, do their homework while you're cooking.
Yeah.
I like that because also I can throw an extra row of cupboard, which often I disguise as panels. So visually it looks good. You don't knock your knee on a handle, but it's also practical to put all those Christmas platters or dishes that you don't really use often.
Or the Christmas present you got 20 years ago that you've never used that you can't. Yeah, exactly. My big thing on that, though, just huge is, this is my own personal opinion, if you have a breakfast bar, that's where you set up with your stools. Don't have the push in, push out buttons on that side. because the amount of times I sat at them and you kick them and they open, they close, and you're kicking them. Oh, it's horrible. So have a fingerless grip or something.
I've learned it the hard way with this one. I've done that in our place, and the kids, all you can hear is tick, 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 tick.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
No.
It's funny how you learn the lessons the most when you do it on your own home. You go, don't do that again. But no, that's my tip. But I do believe those double cupboards, if you got the depth there, is fantastic. So walk me through. I think the best invention known to mankind at the moment is the pot drawers. Drawers in the house, just phenomenal.
Drawers everywhere.
What's your thoughts, ideas, suggestions, all that kind of stuff around those?
All right. I love drawers. Really, really love them. They are more expensive. They are worth the expense. You can maximize the space. You can use it better. I even put drawers in the drawers where you open the drawer and you've got a little inner drawer inside. So, if I've got my Tupperware, then I'll put my lid there. Or if I've got my pots and pan in the top drawer, I'm going to have all my lids.
So walk us through that. Just stay on that one. So drawer within a drawer. Explain that to someone who hasn't seen it before.
Basically, when you open a drawer, the way that the drawers are done with the smaller sides, I guess, you still have wasted space. So you use a small drawer at the top of that drawer within the cupboard to be able to maximize that space.
Yeah. So you would have, like, for example, spices or, knives, forks, that. So you actually got that drawer in there, but you're not taking up the whole drawer.
Yes.
For other things, yeah. So just jumping on that for people playing at home. When you have pot drawers, they're normally 900 wide, and you have options that people have. It's normally under a bench, obviously. So these aren't your normal utility drawers, which are smaller. And what they are is you've got, generally some people have 4 lots of drawers going down there. Some people have 3, some have 2, some have, one's normally just a bin. But
can put another drawer in there.
You can put a drawer and a drawer and a drawer. But to me, I think the best combination is to have one narrow one up top, personally, and that has your utensils or other drawers in there. And then you have 2 equal-sized, deeper ones below that. And my philosophy on that is that the utensils, your wooden spoons, all that kind of stuff is easy to get to. But the 2 below that are basically deep enough to have plates, cups, glasses, your Tupperware, and you're not really wasting much in them because that will take up most of the drawer. But then if you have, if you go to 3, which a lot of people have 3 equal ones, I find there's a lot, you waste quite a bit towards the top of the drawers. So I like the smaller and then 2 equal size. What are your thoughts?
I like that too. Depending of the layout of the kitchen and how many I can fit, sometimes I will put some 2x2. So if you've got a lot of small appliances, your slow cooker, your popcorn machine, they are quite high, so therefore you need to plan for this because they won't fit in the one small and 2 bigger drawers.
I think that's gold, by the way. I think the combination of different drawers for purposes is awesome. Yeah.
But really thinking about where do you want to store your spice? Do you like to have your utensil in a pot on the bench, or do you like to have them all spread in a drawer? Your knives, all these little things. It's about how you like to use your space again. It's back to this. Your plates, your bowl. How do you like to have them in a cupboard above, or do you want to have them underneath? But that's where you got all your Tupperwares and your Pyrex and your casserole. It's all about measuring what you've got or what you think you're going to have. So if you've got a great big pot for your soup, well, you need to think that that's going to need to be stored somewhere. So that's where you need to figure out what you've got, how you're going to use it, and then you do the mix of, say, 2 drawers, 3 drawers. But the one I use the most is the smaller one at the top. Don't go too small because then your soup lather, it doesn't fit. Again, I've made that mistake trying to maximize the other drawers with my little inner drawers, and it always get caught on the soup ladder.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
So would you suggest people do an audit of their kitchen and go, okay, well, what do I need? Where's what going where in their new kitchen? So they've sort of an afterthought. They sort of get an idea of what they want. Is that?
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm silly when I ask, how do you use your kitchen? Where do you stand? Where do you like to, prepare your food, and how do you cook? Because that way I can plan, okay, well, if you're cooking there, and this is how you like to prepare food, and I would recommend to put this there, and so we'll do this arrangement here. And so just...
Josie, are you suggesting that people like map out what they want to do for their new kitchen so they get it just right? That's crazy talk. Like,
crazy.
Why would you do that? No, I think it's gold. And look, the reality, as you know, that the building process can be so overwhelming that you taking 5 to just actually think, well, where do I stand? What do I do? How do I want to cook? Where is everything going to go? Is going to pay off tremendously, because like we've got a saying at IBA here that, no regrets. Don't get to the end and go, I really wish I had done that. Now, you always will. Like you've just mentioned a few mistakes you did. I've made my fair share. And, I look back, I can't believe I do this for a living. I can't believe I've missed that myself. But our job is to try and mitigate as many of those problems up front and help you out with that, so it's not an issue for you. You also mentioned something else earlier, which I actually I agree with, but I think it's actually good value, is that pot drawers are more expensive than a normal cupboard. However, what I've been saying to a lot of people, especially a lot of the kitchens that we've done a fair size, is that the pot drawers hold so much good stuff in your home. Like, for example, you've got let's say you do the smaller one, 2 equal size ones below that, utensils, and then let's say you have 3 lots of pot drawers. So you got 3 and then another 3, and then you got another 3 in your island, for example, which is what I like. You've got utensils, and then below that you might have your cups and glasses and maybe some plates, and then below that you might have some Tupperware. And the next lot you've got more utensils, and then you've got glasses, plates, cups, whatever you want again, and then you might have like pans, and then you've got more utensils, and then you've got it holds so much storage that the money, and I reckon it's about $700 or something for a row of drawers. Overhead cupboards are about $1,000 a linear metre. And to me, like some of our clients are spending $8,000 on these overhead cupboards, but they have all these pot drawers. And the reality is, what are you going to put in them? It's only for look. And we've encouraged some people, like, rather than have the overhead cupboards, maybe put open shelving and put some books up there, or like a big window, because it's just for show now.
Dust.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, well, dust is a pain. But unless you got some suggestions for that, but it's going, well, I think overhead cupboards is like a decoration or a finishing, but it's an expensive finishing because with the drawers, you probably don't need it.
If you've got the space and say you're very minimalist and you don't have that many things, I needed to maximize because I bake, I cook, I keep all this stuff for Christmas, so I needed as much storage as possible. So I do have the overheads, but I also use that to display nice glasswares and things like that. So you know, if you do have nice wine glasses and vase that you want to display, then I would do the overhead and have a nice glass door and some little lights to display it. But otherwise, shelves are a good idea. I wouldn't put them right next to the range hood and cooktop because it does get greasy and sticky. But if you're afraid of that and you've got ample of storage already, then create a feature. Go crazy with a marble splashback and put some lighting and really make the range hood, say, a feature and create a wow factor. And that way you've got all your storage and you've got the wow factor.
Love it. Love it. Yeah,
you
mix it up.
Spend $8,000 on overhead you didn't need.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something you do? Like you do that for your clients?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's good. I figured that might be the case. So what are your thoughts on splashbacks, different stone thicknesses? What are your other things come in and out of style? What are your general thoughts of people,
Things have changed a lot in the years that I've been in industry. I've been through the phase of glass splashback, red fireman, and glass splashback about a decade ago. But these days, we've got so many beautiful material. Yes, tiles are cost effective. A lot of people, again, with the grout, the splashing, people don't really want to use that, but you've got now rectified tile, large format rectified tile that you can use that's got minimal grout.
What's a rectified tile? Just people playing at home?
Yes, people playing at home. So a rectified tile is a tile that has got a very sharp edge, which allowed the grout line to be thinner. So if you've got a normal tile, the edge is a bit rounder, you need to leave a bigger gap for the grout. So
it's got like a very clean finish and less cleaning for...
Yes. Yeah. And less visual as well. So if you've got a good craftsmanship installing, then you'll just have a slight little line between your tiles and it's beautiful.
No, disclaimer, good craftsmanship installing. Disclaimer, yeah. Sorry.
And these days we also have porcelain that has come out in the last few years where you can use one big sheet of porcelain. It's more expensive, but then you don't have grout.
It's like a big tile, right?
It's one big tile. So porcelain tiles, so they come in very large format. These days you can have them in a 6, 12 mil, which is really good for splashback. And it's very effective visually. It's super easy to maintain. It's really good with heat.
So you just said 612 mil. Why would that thickness matter for splashback? Is that length?
So a lot of stone are 20 mil. So I feel like it's thick. So I feel like putting a 20 mil thick slab on the wall sometimes can be a bit wasted if you can have smaller.
Well, you wouldn't see the thickness.
And I'm particular where if you can see the sides having that great thick edge.
I see.
That's one of my ick.
No, that's good. No,
But,
I didn't know that. I was curious.
So I've used a very thin laminam for mine, which is, it's got all the good thing about the porcelain, but it's visually you don't have a big step out of the wall.
And porcelain looks amazing, and the pattern and design you can get with those are great. Because porcelain you can have exposed directly to heat too with the range hood. Because a lot of the stones, I think with the quartz composite stones, you couldn't do that. So.
No. And it's great with the stains as well. So more of them are stain resistant. So baking a spag sauce, splash over everywhere, you don't have to worry that it's going to stain. It cleans up very easily, a bit of gumption.
Yeah.
All gone.
Because we haven't had a lot of requests for glass splashback lately. I had a mirror the other day, but like a darkened mirror, which I thought was a bit different. But glass splashback is sort of not in right now.
It's been gone for a little while with the stone and the tiles. I don't know if people have gone off the very reflective. The styles that people go now is more organic, muted, neutral, calming, and glass tends to not do that.
No.
So yes, a big focus on tile and porcelain. And tiles, a lot of, say if you're doing Hampton, you'll do like the brick pattern, or you can go for a vertical pattern as well. So you can create interest with different tiles.
Well, it's actually amazing how much a horizontal tile and a vertical tile makes a very big difference to your kitchen. And I've looked at tiles purely from one thinking point, and then I've seen it put in the opposite. I go, oh my, that looks awesome. But again, and I've said this before, this is where you need to get experts like yourself in there to give you that confidence to actually make those decisions and be right. Because if you get it wrong, it's not great. And I've said it previously. If you can design an average kitchen and get the colours right, and it looks amazing and you can live with it. You can design an amazing home and get the colours wrong and it's not good. Like colours go a long way. And having an expert to give you that confidence is really important. So with the splashback, what do you think of the window splashback?
Oh, big question. I am personally not a huge fan. I like the idea to be able to cook and you look outside and it's nice, but it's just very hard to clean, and it's always splash of sauce or bacon. Fat.
You're cooking stove up in your house,
I'm a big cook, messy cook. But I don't know. I just think about the practicality of it. I'm personally not a fan. So
that's right. Yeah, no. I was just curious. I mean,
I would put that behind the sink where you doing the dishes and
look out. Yeah, absolutely. No. There's no right and wrong with these things. We in our last house that we built, we were talking about glass splashback, and my wife and I had a robust discussion about whether we should do it or not. And I lost, and we did want to do it. And I was worried about the stains and the marks, and that's why I didn't want to do it. And just for people at home, if you've got a hot plate there, generally you do a thicker stone, normally 650 instead of 600, and you do a toughened glass there behind it. That's how it normally works. If you've got a long window, you may have to reinforce it with some sort of engineering to keep the weight off the window. But we did it, and it looked amazing in our house. And again, I was reminded multiple times that it does look good, right, and the stain wasn't there, and it was correct. And I do admit that I was wrong, and that was a great way to go. And what a lot of people do is they put a plant behind there and do that. And just a side thing here, what often, if you've got a new home and you're waiting for the plants to grow, what we did, we just did a little shelf there that you couldn't see, put young plants there, then as they grow older, we drop them down. But another thing to think about is make sure you have lighting under there to light the plants up. So make sure your electrician on your electrical plan to light that up. And it's actually a nice look at night. But we're not probably got flour everywhere and sauce everywhere. We managed to keep that contained. But again, like all these are great ideas and opinions. And if someone likes it, I'm sure you'd make that work for them.
Yes, absolutely. Like my job is not to tell you what to do exactly. It's about understanding what you want. If you're telling me you really want that window, then we'll make it happen. It's your house. It's not mine. I wouldn't put one in mine. I probably wouldn't advise in a design as my own idea. But if you rock up, if the client come in and say, I really, really want this, then we'll make it happen. It's about working with their dream kitchen.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a client years ago, and it was an investment place, and she wanted a hot pink overhead cupboards, and wasn't really my style, but we pulled it off for her, and as long as she's happy, it was investment though. I thought this is not the best investment option.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Each their own, but you're right. It's about helping them get the best kitchen from them. So you got benches and you got sizes. What about thickness of stones? What's in vogue at the moment? What's out? How's that working?
With the thickness, 20 mil has been a standard in the industry for a while now. So we used to have the 33 mil laminate for the more budget, but 20 mil stone is the one slab that you get often when you build. These days, the fashion has come where we start doing fascia again. So you can create, say on the island, you'll go thicker and create a little design there to really give that pop, that point of difference.
What do you mean by fascia, just for people?
Fascia would mean the edge, the side of the island. So you can have different thickness, you can have different shape. So it's all little things, whether you say in a Hampton or more vintage kind of style kitchen, you can have a bit more of a curve, double bullnose, benchtop, a bit more French style.
Yeah.
Or if
French
you're...
Canadian, maybe.
French Canadian used to be just basically marble and maple doors.
Yeah, there you go.
But in general, you go for your 20 mil, and then sometimes you can just create a little different edge.
Yeah. Yeah, so because like with stone, like if you have a 20 mil, that's generally, they'll stay 20 mil and they'll have it wrap around so it'll look thicker on the edge.
It's not the whole slab that's 20, it's just the edge.
It's a cost-saving exercise. Because I go to people's, I can't help it, I go to people's houses. Whenever I go to a kitchen, if anyone has me over at their house, I always grab the bench like that. I always can tell if it's a fascia or thickness, but that's just me being weird.
But all those things to think about as well. A lot of people want to do waterfall. So then the edge that you're going to have going to deepen, whether you, well, in my opinion, if you do want it to drop down, then I'd, stick with a straight edge. And waterfall or no waterfall, a lot of people have that question these days.
Well, that's the thing. I've heard people say, look, it's out of fashion, don't do it anymore. Some people say it's great. There's different ends you can do. We'll come to that in a second. Just on the thickness of stone, I quite like the look of 20 mil on the back bench and 60 mil on the island bench. I think that's a nice look. I did a display home a long time ago, and it was 100 mil on the island, and I did look at that and go, ooh, that's pretty thick.
That is a thick one.
Yeah, but it was a display. It wasn't my house, so what do you do? But what do you think's good sizes for thickness? Is there a size like 100 mil too big? Because it generally goes in 20, 40, 60, 80, so people know.
Well, again, I'd go for, as you said, like the 20 mil. So if you've got a scullery and the back where you're cooking, I'd go your 20 mil. But your island, I like to create that feature. And then I'd go, your 40 or 60 and then create something a bit more present.
Yeah. A lot of people also go 40 on both, which I think is good. But you're generally putting two slabs on top of each other with that, aren't you? It's got a little line. Or is that out now?
No, you still have you can still do the mitered face and then just have one. Yeah, one
the fascia you mean? Yeah, okay.
Instead of having the join in between.
Yeah, magic. Awesome. So waterfall, so obviously the ends of the island when it comes down or end of the bench. What are options for people there with finishings of island benches?
Well, a few things to think about. Yeah, again, if your bench is thicker in the island, do you want that to wrap around where you say if you've got a breakfast bar, or do you want it to just be on, finish or unfinished? Waterfall or no waterfall, I don't think it's out as such. It's a case of what people like or not. I'm less of a fan. I like to see the cabinets or create something a bit more special at the end. But it's nice.
Yeah, I think if you got a nice piece of stone, it's great. But what are other options if you don't have the waterfall? What other options that people can do with the ends?
Breakfast bar.
Yep.
If you do have the space, you can use a lower shelf. You can put like a little open shelf there to have some display.
I like that.
Wine bottle bar.
Because that bar fridge. Yeah, on both ends. Yeah.
Just don't have to go anywhere. You can just open the fridge.
Yeah.
But wine bottle display, wine rack, open shelf.
What do you think about, you mentioned the breakfast bar on the end where you can sit there and you can sit next to each other. What are your thoughts on those?
I love it. If you do have the space, it's a great way because it's a bit more... It's a bit less face-to-face. So if you're just sitting there and you're cooking here, then it's less intimate, I guess.
Yeah.
So if you've got people all the way around, it's a bit more like a round table. It's a bit more cozy.
Yeah, absolutely. You sit next to them and have a chat, especially if the kids are doing homework or something and they're there because it's a
very
workbench.
practical.
Yeah,
you can be sitting there cooking and one kid there, and you're doing the spelling type thing.
I like that.
I really like that option.
I've had a lot of people request that you have an island bench and then you have no cupboards there and that you can sit opposite each other like it's a bit of a table. What are your thoughts on that? So just for people, you got your cupboards normally, and then it's just bench only with an end, and then you can have stools there. You can sit opposite, like we are now, opposite each other.
I would say depending how you use your kitchen again. If your dining table is just next to it, I'd say maybe maximize that with cupboard. Or if you're someone that's going to cook a lot, you'll find that these people sitting there, if you're cooking, it might get a little bit in the way. That's my opinion.
I agree.
But if you don't have a lot of space and say the apartment is small and there's not a huge space for a dining table, then that's a great option to incorporate the dining space into the kitchen.
Yeah, no, well, I agree. But I think with the island bench, I think it's great that, you got some friends over and you can, while you're waiting for the timer to go off, you can sit there and have a chat and have a bite to eat, and you're sitting in the kitchen, they're sitting in where the breakfast bar is. However, I think in practicality terms is one, if you've got kids, the kids are definitely going to leave that stool out slightly and you're going to keep walking into it. That's no-brainer.
Make cubbies underneath.
So you're losing great real estate. Depending on the age. Hopefully when they're 23, they're not doing that. But but also you're losing a lot of real estate with cupboards. And I think I've done a number of them, but I think it really works when you have a really big island. Then you've got that space. However, if you've got a smaller island, it almost looks like you've forgot to put cupboards there or it's not finished. So that's to someone coming to your home. And I think also when you're looking at it, you're seeing all these legs of stools underneath it and it's not really that great. So I think what we were talking about earlier, I think if you have a breakfast bar on the island and then you have a bench on the side, a return on the side, that's much better. You don't have to keep a stool there. You actually keep the stool on the other side of the breakfast bar. When you're using it, just bring the stool around. I think that's a better finish than having the two-way at the cupboard, in my opinion.
And also, if you're in the kitchen cooking and there's 4 people sitting there, then people are backing you. And it's not as social.
Yeah. Especially if you only have, like we talked about earlier, 900 deep, then you want to kill the person if they do that. But no, I think that works really well, the island bench. And I think that I like how it wraps around. I think that it's just a nice way of doing it. It's also a nicer finish. Like you might have a waterfall on one end, and then on that end you have that wraparound sort of bench. Curving stone on is that expensive, difficult?
It's more expensive. There's a lot more work involved for the stonemason. Curves are in everywhere. I love curves. I just feel like it's softer, obviously. It's more organic. It's less rigid as a big square kitchen. I like to be able to include that in design if budget allows and if the style of the house, again, like it might not work with the style. But yeah, curve benchtop, arch in the cupboards, corner shelves. You see a lot of that these days where, your pantry is going to be curved, and the overheads have curve. It's everywhere at the moment, so it is more expensive to do. I do have people coming in and say, I want curve here, I want curve there, we're going to arch this. Like, that's great if you got the budget. That comes
adds
with
up. Yeah.
It all adds up because it is more workmanship, but the result is
looks
nice.
amazing. I think even if you're not into curves everywhere else, I think a curve on an island bench is sort of, it makes sense because you're walking around that part. It actually it just leans into it a little bit more.
It's better for the hips.
Nicer. Yeah, absolutely. And if you stub your toe on a waterfall end, I tell you what, you know all about it. So that curve might be nice. So yeah, I think it works. I think nice finishing, like fluted paneling and things like that, is nice finishing for that sort of area. Do you want to explain? Sorry, what I said it, but do you want to explain like different finishes that you could do with the cupboards and so forth?
With the cupboards, so say on the back of an island, what you can do there. So yes, as you said, like you've got fluted or batten, so you've got product now that you can use. You can either vinyl wrap it, which is also called thermolaminated. So it's a small plastic on a piece of MDF heated up and to create the color. And you can put that as a feature. You can use the stone. A lot of people wrap the whole island in the stone these days.
That sounds expensive.
It's very, very expensive, but quite effective as a look if you really want a big wow factor. Or you can just use the actual color of the kitchen. You can create the island, have the island in totally different colors. You can play with the height of you can create a different the kickboard. So say you want to go Hampton-y, then you can use a nice skirting board and create a feature around the island.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Divide with panel. One thing with the paneling, often it goes busy. So depending of the feature, if you've got like what pattern you've got on the door, then I take that in consideration.
It's too busy.
For how many panel you're going to have. So
Yeah.
if you are using the back of the island as cupboards, then you don't want to have a 800 mil door. Like, that's quite a big door.
Yeah.
But also if you've got a big, thick pattern in the door, like if you've got too many, say 300 or 400 small door with pattern, it gets really, really busy. So then it distracts the eye. So I like less is more on there.
Well, I think that's important. I think how many heroes you have in the kitchen. What's your?
You don't want them to fight.
Yeah,
so
yeah. What's your focal point?
Less,
Yeah.
I say less is more. So I like the stone to be the hero. Often like that on the splashback as well, because let's be true, like the thing you see when you're in the kitchen is the stone. It's the splashback. I'm a big fan of good lighting as well in the kitchen, but the hero would be, I'd say, invest in that stone that you really, really want.
So let's talk about that. So what kind of when you say invest in the stone, what do you mean by that?
The marble, porcelain, real good stone with features. You know, if you want to go color, go crazy. We have so many suppliers out there these days with marble and granite, quartzite coming from beautiful quarry in the world, creating the most beautiful slab. It's a piece of art on a bench top.
Yeah.
It's not plain anymore. It's not just a black granite bench top. It's vein, it's pattern. You've got cloudy, you've got terracotta type
natural,
of. It's natural. It's really beautiful. And yes, it does need maintenance.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. So that's why I like it. It's a piece of art, and you can.
But if you're going to do that, you'd sort of mute the other colours in the kitchen. Is that what you do? So that's you're drawing your attention to it, and then lighting, as you said before. Yeah. With lighting, what are your thoughts with lighting in the kitchen? Like, what are some do's and don'ts with lighting? Sort of putting it on the spot. I'll give you some of my thoughts, right? Is that if you have an island bench there that, or any bench, you really want to light directly above it.
Yes.
Because you want to see where your hands are working. If you have it behind you, it's going to shadow it.
I'm a little bit European with this. I like chandelier above the island.
Yeah, beautiful.
You're talking about features, so I like having a feature light above the kitchen if it's an option. Just, depending if your dining table is near, then you're not going to have two chandelier competing against each other. But you can create something very special by having a nice light fitting. But it's also making sure that light fitting is not only beautiful, but it's going to give you adequate lighting
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your cooking.
Well,
There's
that
no
would-
point having the most beautiful chandelier if it doesn't light properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but also that highlights your feature stone if you're going to go that way.
Yeah, but you know, good lighting around your cooking area. Often the little light that comes with the range hood is not fantastic. So having some lighting around there, right above your bench, your island is also really good, and around your say your dishwashing area. So you want to make sure you don't miss a stain.
Absolutely, yeah. And I also think what's really good there is that if you can have like some strip lighting or something like that to light up your backdrop. So if you're having a dinner party and you finish cooking, the kitchen's like glowing, but it's not in your face, and you can have you can set the
I like
mood.
some in the cupboards if you've got nice glassware, and it's also, say at night, you turn off all the big blinding LEDs, and then you just have that sort of ambience, a little bit like a living room lamp, but it's in the cupboard in the kitchen. It's quite soft.
So I'm glad you didn't say fluoros just everywhere because, no. No, good look. Look, we've been doing it for quite some time now, but I just want to cover just one more thing because we can talk about kitchens and we'll get you back on to talk about more kitchens and things like that.
And
and
talk about it for
absolutely. Sculleries, what are your thoughts on sculleries?
I love them. I love them. I think it's great. It's great for the entertainer because you can just put everything in there. I put the dishwasher in the main sink. In the island, so say if you've got an island, that's a question, should I put a sink in there as well or not? I like to have one if the island is big enough because then you don't have to run all the way to the scullery for it.
Yeah.
But the main sink where you're going to do all your dishwashing and your dishwasher, I like to put that in the scullery. And this is the great place to have all your appliances. You've got your coffee station, your toaster, your pantry items. So gone are the day where you've got massive, a meter wide, just block pantry with just shelves. You can really make the most of it with a scullery. I really like that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, they're incredibly popular. My thoughts on the scullery is slightly different to yours. Look, I love a good scullery. I love a good pantry. To me, my favourite layout is an island bench, and on the back bench, I would have the main sink and a hot plate. And the best way, in my opinion, to do the sink is you want to bin, sink, and then dishwasher, so you can scrape, rinse, and dishwasher. But the reason why I like that there is, and this is my philosophy, and have a smaller sink in your scullery, is because if you're having a dinner party, you get all your dirty dishes and you put them into the scullery and then, close the door and no one knows it, saying, oh my God, your house looks so amazing. And then later on you do the dishes. So when you put them in the dishwasher and you wash them, then when you go to empty the dishwasher, all your cups, plates and glasses are in your kitchen, so you got to walk from the scullery to the kitchen to put them away. So I prefer them in the to have the main dishwasher in the main living area, and that way if your friends are nice friends, they'll help you do the dishes anyway if you're doing it. But and the smaller one in the scullery is so that you can rinse things out if you're using Nutribullet, Thermomix, whichever. But then you just put your dirty dishes out after the dinner party when everyone's leaving, then you bring them out and you put them. But there's no right or wrong.
I wouldn't know about the step. The kids do that.
Yeah,
so
there you
that's
go.
good for them.
Well, that's what I'm going. I haven't trained my kids to do that.
But it's also, I wouldn't put the scullery that far,
True, yeah.
So say in my house, the scullery is, it is right next to the kitchen, like a lot of places, but the sink is easily accessible.
Yeah.
But I just like how you can just hide it away.
Dedicated room. And that's the thing, though. There's no right or wrong. It's what you like, and our job's to find out the best results for the clients. And I'm a big fan of leaving the island bench completely free, and that's like a workbench. But then people can, if you've got a big one, put a sink in the side. But I do think it's imperative that you have a sink in your main kitchen and one in your scullery if you're going to do that. It's just to rinse something, you don't want to walk halfway across the room.
Or you're cooking chicken, you're rinsing it. Your hand, you don't want to have to walk all the way there for every 3 seconds. That if you're like me and you touch, chicken, you wash your hands 6 million times.
In there to rinse it. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's got to be convenient. And that works really well. One more question, and then we'll get on to our big question, the most important one, the $10,000 question. What are your thoughts on a hot plate in the island?
I don't like it. It's as simple as that. And again, if people like it, that's fantastic. You've got beautiful integrated range hood now that can pop up the benchtop. But for me, the island is more a food prep area where I like to spread all the food and socialize and have the glass of wine, having the cooked up there with the fan making noise and splashing bacon fat everywhere. It's just not as pretty, and it's for me. I don't find it's as practical. I
Yeah.
like it tucked away on the side. It's on area again with the little triangle. Make sure that you've got your preparation area, your washing area, and your cooking area. But having the preparation and the social with the cooking, and for me, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree. I mean, you can get the hot plates now that's got the range hoods that are inside there, but I don't know really how good they work. I mean, I know they said they work well, but I'll be interested if anyone wants to leave a comment about how well it works. I'll be interested, but also that, if you're someone sitting like we are across from each other and you're cooking bacon and like you're going to get blinded as the things hit your face and grease everywhere. But also, and a funny story is I actually designed to build a home for a mate of mine who's 6'7", and he had the hot plate. Insisted I want the hot plate on the island bench. I said, mate, you're 6'7", and he's had a range hood, so he's staring into a range hood because he's so tall. And go, mate, and I was in his house going, mate, how does this feel for you? He goes, I probably shouldn't have done this. I'm like, you reckon? But
better listen to the professionals.
Absolutely, Isho. But I think if you're going to do that, maybe you have the hot plate off to one side and then leave the other bits as work area so you can separate the two. But
not in the middle. So if you insist on having it, definitely on the side or the other so you can have a prep social area.
Fantastic, yeah. But look, we'll stop it there because there's so much more we can talk about. We can go forever. But the question, so you're building and renovating your home. Someone comes along, distant relative goes, hey, heard you're renovating your home. I'm leaving it. You've got to spend, here's $10,000 check, but you have to spend it on your house. Someone like you, I'm interested to hear this one. What would you spend that $10,000 on?
All right. I did have to think about that one, and I wanted to change my idea, but I'm keeping with the first one. It would probably help that $10,000 because it would cost more than that to create the perfect room, but I would put it towards starting my whiskey room. So I love drinking whiskey and gin, but I also like the idea of having that cozy, dark, very kind of cigar lounge room.
Very cool.
So light up glass shelves with all your beautiful bottle of whiskey and comfortable chairs.
Very, very cool. I like that. That's pretty
probably
cool.
what I would put it towards, like some of luxury.
Might buy a couple of bottles of Scotch or whiskey for you just to get you started. But man, that's an awesome idea. That's fantastic. Look, I wasn't expecting that, and I'll tell you that's pretty good. Look, that's awesome, and you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
You've been great, and look, again, we could keep talking about all different options. I want to get into pocket drawers. I want to get into all sorts of stuff.
So many things to talk about. Hope people understood with my accent.
Oh no, I'm sure they did, and if they didn't, we'll have like subtitles or something. But look, thank you so much for coming on. Wealth of knowledge. Décor Avenue is your business. We'll have notes in the show notes, obviously, for that. Reach out if you want help with interior design, colours, layouts, all sorts of things. It'd be amazing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.